Hey everyone, how we doing? Welcome to another episode of SO NWA. I'm your host Juan Carlos. I got my brother here, Enrique. How
Yeah,
we doing?
good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And Juan Carlos, we got somebody special here with us today, and I'll give you the honors to introduce him for our listeners here.
Thank you, Enrique. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Kenny Williams from Pedal It Forward, and he is our first guest. I want to give him a huge round of applause. Thank you, Kenny,
Oh
for
yeah,
being here, man. Thank
thank
you.
you, Kenny.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Honored to be here.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for making time out of your day to come join us and talk about what you do day to day.
Yeah,
we
of
appreciate
course.
it.
I'm excited.
Man,
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Kenny, again. So how did this all begin? As far as as far as how we met, how the day started, how's everything?
Great. Well, I know that you met my coworker Joe, and then I shortly after got an invite to come talk on a podcast. But it sounds like you learned about Pedal It Forward way back in a lane shift experience, and so uh, I just love to hear that someone's heard about us. So
Very true, very
yeah.
true. I did, and it is true. And we'll get into exactly what Pedal It Forward does here, a little bit later. But yes, I did meet Joe. Very nice guy. I went that day to Pedal It Forward in Bentonville, the Bentonville location, to pick up a bike for my wife. And like I mentioned to you, man, I'm telling you, I'm so excited for the spring, or as soon as I can get on these bikes, because yes, they're such a blessing to us, but they're also some really nice bikes. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Joe.
Great to hear.
So shout out to Joe for connecting us. Thank you for that quick conversation and giving that intro to here to Mr. Kenny. So thank you, man. So how was the weekend, Enrique? What'd you think about the coldness?
It was a little bit brutal. Little too cold. I'm a big fan on like winter and fall and being around the cold, but this weekend was a bit much. Oh man,
that
I thought it was.
four or
I'm like
five
driving
degree.
down the road. I'm shivering.
Yeah.
It was cold.
I'm ready to. You get
Yeah.
to that point in winter when you're over it. I think I hit it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you hit it. Yeah. I think my sister was saying that last night too. I was hanging out with my sister and she was like, I don't like this cold no more. I can't do anything with my kids.
For real, no, that's very true. I had some family here during Christmas, and they're from California, so they wanted a white Christmas, and I told them, hey guys, man, I love a white Christmas. Snow is nice and everything, but if we all remember back in that Christmas time, it was like 50 degrees or so. Yeah, and we got
crazy.
and we got to do a few things in town. So I mean, they got to see the town in a different manner, but man, it was definitely nice. So yeah, we got it as soon as they left. That we got that weather. So
Yeah.
we're stuck inside for a bit.
Yeah, they missed it for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I mean, at least during Christmas time, it was actually enjoyable to go out and go eat and hang out outside and all that stuff.
We did, yeah. We
Yeah,
walked
so
down.
that was good.
We walked in Bentonville, walked in Rogers. Went to. Did we go to the museum? No, we did not. But we went over to Whistling Springs Brewery out in Missouri, if you know
No
about
way.
it.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Oh, if you haven't been there, have you been there?
I haven't been there.
Do you know? Do you know? No.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, so
man.
I'm glad Kenny knows what's going on.
Oh
here.
man, let me tell you, there's a pig. There's two pigs.
Yeah,
Did
there
you
is.
see the pig?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, it's worth just to go see the pig.
Okay.
They're
Okay,
huge.
I'm gonna make a note of
The
this.
beer's good too.
Yeah, no, they're family-owned brewery, basically on a farm where you can do horseback riding.
No way.
Yeah, you can do horseback. You can pet all the animals. You can pet this pig that Kenny's talking about. It's hilarious.
I'm curious now about this pig.
Yeah,
It was laying in front of the door when I
Correct.
went. You had to step over the pig to get into the
No
brewery.
way.
It cracked me up.
did you know? Did you know there is a mean one and a nice one?
They told me that.
Yeah.
They said don't touch that one.
Yeah.
This one you can pet.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh, that is so fun. Is there like a specific distinction between the two, or they just tell you which is which?
I guess you just gotta know.
Just
I
kind
don't
of
remember.
take a risk, I guess, and petting one of the pigs.
I'd say they would know. They would be like, "Oh, it's
They
that
know,
one."
yeah.
Yeah. So but that's one of the first questions I ask when I arrive is, "Oh, which one's the mean one?" And they'll point to it. He's like, "Oh, he's over there," or something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's too
And-
funny.
And it might be the guy. I don't think it's the girl pig. I think it's the
Okay.
male pig or whatever. But yeah, sounds like me. Just
It's a great
grump-
spot.
Yeah, it's a really good spot.
We went on a day that they were offering horseback riding, and so
Oh.
the kids got to do a little 30-minute horseback ride. Parents had some food and a couple beers, and it's a cool experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned kids, Kenny. How many kids do you have? You mind me asking?
Got two of those.
Okay.
Two boys. Yeah, kindergartner, and then my other guy's a little younger. He's still 3. So
there you go.
Nice.
Yep,
Very nice.
3 and 6 years old.
Cool.
Awesome.
Keep me on my toes.
That's nice.
How long have you been married for, Kenny?
Going on 11 years now.
11 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
So yeah.
Well, Carlos here just made is it 10 years of marriage?
10 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
right
10
on.
years, man. That's
Right on.
There
you know,
go.
it's been an awesome 10 years, such a learning experience, and Enrique, as always, you can always pick my brain, you know, as you're recently engaged, correct?
Yeah, we got engaged last December.
Oh, okay.
So I've been engaged for a while. We plan on maybe getting married this year. I hope so if the plans work out well. But
get there.
yeah. But I've been with my fiance for a long time. I think we're coming up on 8 years this year.
Oh, awesome.
So we started dating in high school, and we've been 8 years together. And like Juan Carlos said, you know, it's a lot of learning and a lot of growing as a person, but it's well worth it.
It is.
Awesome.
It is.
Yeah, it's been a good ride.
Nice.
Really
Great.
grateful.
We got some good weather coming up this week here in the area, which is nice. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw 50 on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's a big bike ride going down on Saturday. So
Oh, where at?
everybody doing that, stoked for the weather. It's a ride called Rule of 399. It's a warm up ride for the Rule of 3, and it's actually a Pedal It Forward fundraiser also.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Cool.
Rule of 3.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll share it on our socials. And do you have a Facebook page that you can do like a post on, or there already a post available?
Yeah, well, actually, the good news is it is sold out. So
Ah, so that. Oh, okay.
yeah, they sell
Well,
out real fast. So
Okay.
I can't say I'm surprised because I mean biking here is
yeah, they're
massive.
a really cool organization, Rule of 3, and so yeah.
Awesome.
Anyways, they do it every year at the end of January.
Really?
Sometimes it's just so miserable that
Is it a lot of planning goes into that? A lot of like time you got to dedicate to it.
Yeah, they do a great job, but the weather you can't control. So
Right.
whenever there's a 50-degree day in January, people are excited to ride their
Right.
bikes.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's good. I mean some people they try to go biking right now and you see them down the streets, right? They're all bundled up and like they just look like not the most comfortable with all that gear they got on because it's so cold. They're trying to stay warm, right? So maybe it's with
Yeah.
this newer, warmer weather, it'll be a little bit better.
I might be one of those people. I rode Sunday.
Oh.
It was I did a mountain bike ride. I think it was 18, 20 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How was that though? Was it
You
alright?
know,
I mean,
it's bad at the beginning, but once you warm up, I actually ended up taking my jacket off
no way.
because I got so warm.
Wow.
I mean, I had a lot of other clothing on, but
Yeah.
starting is hard. It's the hardest
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, mountain biking is cool. I think if you listen, I think to the point where we talked about mountain biking for a little bit. I think I've gone maybe 4 or 5 times, if that.
Right on.
My conditioning is not there.
It
So
takes
like
time,
if I'm like huffing and puffing, and then I was telling about YT. I'm sure you've
Yeah.
heard of YT before.
Yeah.
They give you the 2-hour rental. I went and oh man, my experience was a lot better.
Okay, you probably rented an e-bike, right?
Yeah, it was an e-bike.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay,
an e-bike.
Yeah.
It made it like going up hills was like actually fun.
It's all smiles, man. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
I have yet to mountain bike.
You need to go.
Dude,
You gotta go to YT.
Okay, there
We'll
you
have
go.
to
Now
check
I
it
know.
out.
Plug.
Get a YT e-bike. It'll be 2 hours of smiles, unless you crash. Don't crash.
Oh man. Well, Kenny, you know, something we do in this podcast is, you know, we want to highlight the area, right? The Northwest Arkansas area. And we're always curious to get the take, you know, of our guests, of the locals here. You know, what's, you know, about the area and what it has to offer. And, you know, when family and friends come to visit for that first time or one of those first times, what do you tell your family when they first come visit, or if they haven't been here before, if it's a friend, you know, say, hey man, come to Bentonville, come to Bella Vista, you know, da 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 da. What is their thought? What do you hear them say? And then what's it like when after they come, you know?
Yeah. Fun fact. I mean, the cool part is I think everybody I know, family or friends, has already come here. I think
wow.
that says something.
Okay.
But if I were to try to be convincing someone to come here, Uh, it's what I like to tell people that say they're from a big city, right? Say we have everything that you have, probably. It just takes half as much time to get there.
So true. So true.
So,
Yeah.
So
like,
true.
you want to go to a really cool art museum? We got that. Like, you want to go to a concert? We got that. We might not have a professional sports team, but you want an awesome nature experience, recreation,
Yeah.
beauty, mountain beauty.
Right.
We
Right.
got that, and all of it takes only 10 minutes to get to. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. We refer to Northwest as like all these major cities, right? It's like one big one. So like to your point, you can get anywhere within a certain amount of time frame, and it's real easy to visit anywhere you want, restaurants, places, concerts, whatever the case is, and it's just very easy to do what we want to do here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are coming for the amenities, it's impressive how much I guess for the size of Northwest Arkansas, it seems like we have more impressive restaurants, more impressive recreational amenities. Like, everything's a little bit better than it should be for a place of this size, I feel like.
That's a really good way of putting it. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good take on it. Sure.
A lot of people come to the town and they don't expect what Kenny just said about that having better. How'd you say it?
Just the amenities are more impressive
Than what people's expectations of a smaller town
I feel
might
like
be.
when people think, and maybe I'm thinking of somebody who's from a city, when they think of Arkansas, they think of like rural back roads and the random Dollar General that's right there.
Yep.
I'm thinking that's maybe what their perspective is, but I mean it's so much more than that. And to your point, it shows, right?
Well, to be fair, one of the things that I always tell people is, again, we're in the Northwest Arkansas area. It really is like that. I don't have much. I don't know too much outside of the area, like past maybe like Fayetteville, south of Fayetteville. I don't know what that's like, the rest of the state. But I think a lot of people and they probably just think the same thing of Northwest Arkansas like they do the rest of the state when they come, and then they come here and it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually really, really nice. But I just saw this morning. 3 chefs from this area were named James Beard Award semifinalists.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. What's the guy from Yayo's?
yeah.
Right?
Yayo's, Raphael.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's the bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, Raphael from Yayo's. If you don't know, you should definitely look them up. Jordan Wright from Wright's Barbecue, and then Matt Cooper from Conifers in Bentonville. So
wow, impressive.
We have 3 semifinalists in the James Beard Awards. They were just announced this past Monday, so that's
awesome.
That's a big deal,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Have you guys eaten at any of those? Well, I have been at Wright's Barbecue and Yayo's.
I haven't had Wrights yet, but Yayo's I've eaten there before.
Yeah. Just Conifer. Haven't done Conifer yet.
I haven't done.
You need to find a reason to get to Conifer. It's
It's
like a date night kind of thing.
It is. Yeah. You have not been to Wright's Barbecue.
No, and everyone always gets me in trouble when I say that.
Come on,
I hear so many good things about it, and it just every time I go, and I think maybe their dynamic is different, but every time I go, there's a huge line.
True.
But somebody told me that they go and take your order while you're in line, and then by the time you get to sit, your food's ready. Is that right?
They're cutting it and serving it as you're telling it, I guess, right? Kind of like Chipotle, right?
I've definitely stood in that line, but it moves really fast.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah.
You're just boom, boom, boom. It moves really fast.
Yeah, and they give it to you right when you pay. You know what we'll do is we'll ask Francisco on the next team meeting to go to Wright's Barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Very cool.
For this reason that Enrique has to try.
We'll see.
We'll
see what he says.
We'll see what he says.
We'll see
Man,
what Francisco says.
he's got to now. This is final.
Okay. All right. Well, it's on my bucket list for sure.
Okay. If not, we'll make it happen one way or another.
Okay. Awesome.
So, well, Kenny, what do you enjoy about this area the most?
I kind of stereotypically, not to talk about bikes, but I enjoy I'll say this, I enjoy the quick access to nature, right? I live in Bella Vista, so
yeah,
it's just to have all the amenities of a city, Bentonville right there, but to be able to just leave my garage and get lost in the woods for as long as I want. So yeah, something you can't find everywhere. To have both.
Very true.
Yeah, I agree. Growing up in Florida, a lot of it was, roads and highways and palm trees, not really like nature per se. I mean, you had maybe you go to a swamp, but it's like, I'm not going to go to a swamp. Like, what am I going to do out there, But here I can go and I can go, if you're a hunter, you can go hunt. If you like hiking trails, you can go hike. If you like biking, you can go bike. I mean, you have so many options to go outside.
Fishing,
yeah.
Fishing, bro.
You
All
go
the
fishing here too?
fish. Yeah,
Do you like fishing, Kenny?
I'm getting there.
Get it?
Yeah.
That's two now. Now we gotta.
I live.
Okay.
Now we gotta go with Enrique one day to fish.
And I like fishing. Fishing is fun.
I grew up in Dallas, so it was
okay.
really hard to get to nature. Living in
for
the
sure.
middle of Dallas.
Yeah,
It was a
I can
long
imagine.
way away.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. So you're from Dallas, or
I grew up there.
oh, sorry, grew up there. Okay.
Till I was 18, yeah.
Okay.
And then went to undergrad out in Texas Tech, out in the panhandle of Texas. But then I ended up doing grad school at the University of Arkansas. So
Okay.
moved to Fayetteville in 2010, and with my soon-to-be wife, and we both moved to Fayetteville for grad school, and then kind of never left. I did do a stint in Sacramento, California, for a few years.
Okay.
I got a job out there at Sacramento State University.
Okay. And how was that experience working out there in Sacramento?
Honestly, it was great. I rep Sacramento. Nobody goes to Sacramento for vacation, right? It's just not a place.
Right. Typically, people are like, "Oh, I'm going to LA," or "I'm
Right.
going to."
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with California, but any other of the major cities.
Like San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
What's
But I'll tell you, Sacramento is a little bit off the radar. So if you want to live somewhere, it's actually possible, and it's right in between Tahoe and San Francisco. And so
Okay.
I could beat the traffic to the mountains every weekend, and we just lived in our own little bubble in downtown Sacramento. It was great.
Awesome.
But then we moved back to Northwest Arkansas.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, to your point, I mean, coming back here, I mean, there's something to come back to, So.
Yeah, so I guess total we've lived here about a decade.
Gotcha. So being here from 2010 to where it is now, how much have you seen it change? How do you feel about all the change happening? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm all for it. Yeah, I love. It feels really good to live somewhere that people are moving to. I know that growing too fast comes with its challenges. We've all heard that we don't want to have Austin traffic or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's good to hear that we're trying to get ahead of that, but
Right.
it has changed a lot, especially up. When I lived in Fayetteville, I never saw myself living in Bella Vista. That seemed so far away back then.
Yeah.
But now that I've lived on both ends of Northwest Arkansas, I can truly say that it's good. The whole thing is awesome,
Yeah.
I live up north now. I still miss parts about Fayetteville. But the whole thing is good all the way through.
Luckily, Fayetteville's not so far when we talk about the different cities, right? Like Bella Vista, Rogers, Fayetteville, things like that. It's not even maybe a 30-minute drive, 20-minute drive,
Not
or something
even,
like
yeah.
So
I talk about it like it's far, but it's,
well, as a
it's
reference,
less than 20 minutes on the interstate.
well, it's true, and as a reference, a lot of coming from, like there was a period where I lived in California for some time, and like I said in that intro episode, I lived in this city called Ontario, which miles wise was not even 30 miles from LA, something like that, but it would seem took almost 45 minutes to get there, just to get into the city or something around that, right? So, and then when we come here, just to go to Fayetteville is maybe even 20 miles, and it's only maybe 20 minutes or something like that.
I mean, you can take the freeway, you can go down 71 Business,
Yeah.
and I mean, even then, even with traffic, it's not like you're going to be sitting there for an hour, 2 hours just to get to a different place. I mean, you get quick access to everything.
Yep.
which is nice.
Many people live in one city and commute to another for work, and it's
Yeah.
still their commute still on average is shorter than
It
most
is,
in the
yeah.
country.
Have you noticed ever the traffic on I-49? I think in the morning when people are coming down from Fayetteville. Oh my gosh, that highway is like backed up now. Ooh, for
Dude.
so long now. Because I have to drive to Springdale to go to class, and I see there, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just look, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm not going down that way.
Going that way.
Yeah, but it's just crazy now, the amount of traffic. But I think it's just because our infrastructure isn't there yet with the amount of people that we
Yeah.
have. But I mean, even then, it's not terrible to drive.
You know, just to give like a quick, just a, how do I say this? Like a quick my 2 cents on our infrastructure regarding, streets and roads and things like that. Man, it takes time. It really takes a long time for the state to really improve or expand those things. Assuming I guess it depends the road or freeway. Because if it's a city-owned road, then it's on the city. But if it's a highway, if it's a state-owned road, then it's the state. So it takes time, but for what we have, going on in this town in the last 2 or 3 years, 4 years, I mean, they're keeping up with it as I feel like as best as they can. Nothing's perfect, but I think again we're really getting those in between streets. We're finding out the back roads. They're paving certain things better, things like that. So people in this area can get around, but of course, it's not there yet, but
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it's
it will
gonna take
definitely
time.
take some time. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're doing a lot with the biking trails, at least. They're doing a lot of work with them, like in Bentonville. What is it? I don't know. I'm not familiar with the names, but I think you have what is it called again? I can't remember.
The Razorback Greenway.
Yeah, the Greenway.
Yeah.
The Greenway.
And then
I love it.
there's a ton of connections planned to expand that network to go east and west, and you know who's a good complement to the biking is Ozark Regional Transit, the small but growing bus system that we have here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so that's
right.
That's an important part of it, I think, as they grow, and they're pretty progressive. They're trying to grow as fast as they can, but as they grow, people will truly start to have options other than driving.
Yeah, that's true.
Because a lot of folks will use a bike to connect to a bus.
Really?
And that kind of a
Oh wow.
they might have heard this with a lane shift, a multimodal trip. So if you don't want to deal with the car, or you can't deal with the car because you don't have one, is there a way to connect a 2-mile bike ride with a 30-minute bus ride? And that's how you get where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a huge help for many people, like you said, don't have access to a vehicle, or maybe they aren't able to ride a bicycle for whatever case.
Yeah.
Growing that system, giving that transport access to many people who need it, that's going to help a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm looking this up right now for Ozark, transit that we're talking about. If you're not familiar with it, but it says Ozark Regional Transit Authority offers $0 fixed route fare and $1.25 on demand transit to Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and Fayetteville. So for people that can't get around or need a little bit help, or just again if you want to take an alternate transportation, I mean, it's either going to be free depending on the route you're going, or it's going to be $1.25 again depending where they offer it. So again, that's to be offered in a region, again at that price, or again free, is amazing. And I think that's just one of those things, and that's just one of those things that that the area offers for the community, right? So I mean, shout out to that. Well, Kenny, what do we think? And Enrique, I also like to know as well. What's one of your favorite restaurants or places? Restaurants, coffee places, breweries, bars, whatever it might be here in the area that you, your family, enjoy a lot. Whether it be something small or big. I'm always curious to see what our guests have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do restaurant and brewery.
Okay.
Brewery's easy. Bentonville Brewing Company.
Okay.
In there.
Nice.
Off I Street.
Yeah.
I
I want to get them here if you know somebody, please let me know.
Yeah, I'll introduce you to. Yeah, I'll introduce you to
Yeah.
Katie.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Anyone that can just represent them, man.
You
I
know,
just love to get.
two-
I love to hear their story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two reasons I think their IPA is the best,
Okay.
and a more important reason is they're just really community oriented and supportive of Pedal It Forward and
Nice.
all the reasons. And they have a killer place for the whole family to hang
They
out.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
They
a good
do.
spot.
Yes.
And restaurant's gonna throw you for a loop, and I'll tell you why.
I like this already. Yeah.
We don't eat out a lot.
Okay.
You know, with the kids. I don't know if you've ever taken two kids to a restaurant, but there is a teeny tiny food truck in my neighborhood in Bella Vista. It's a little green food truck off Highway 71 called My Chinese. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been there.
I go for lunch. We snag dinner. You know, it's 5 stars because it is. You know, it's probably not the most gourmet Chinese food you'll ever find, but it's affordable. Portions are great, and it's just on point.
Oof.
And we eat there all the time.
I have
And
heard
it's at the
that.
bottom of my street.
I have heard that many times. Heard that many times.
And they're just nice folks.
Aw.
It's just 2 or 3 people, I think, that work that run it, and
So it's My Chinese food trailer right on
Yep,
Bella Vista.
right there on Highway 71.
Yeah,
Probably
so-
driven by it 100 times.
So I googled it,
Yep.
and they have over 200 Google reviews, and their ratings at 4.5 stars.
There you go.
I
I'd
mean-
call that solid.
Yeah, no, that's solid.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's solid.
Having
Yeah.
over 200 reviews at that rating of a star, I mean, that kind of shows the quality of maybe the service, the food,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's good, you know. It says your price per person, I think, reported by about 50 people. It depends. I think $10 to $20 more or less is what you're gonna spend
Sure.
per person,
Yeah.
on a meal there. So
But I can do the one of their entrees, and if I'm responsible about it, it can almost feed me twice.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not responsible about it, but
Awesome, man.
yeah. So there's my spot.
That's your
Bentonville
spot.
Brewing,
Bentonville
and then
Brewing.
when the family gets in a pinch, gets lazy, doesn't want to cook,
Yeah.
it's My Chinese. How about you, Enrique?
For me, it's well, I mean, they used to only have it in Springdale, and I got introduced to this by funny enough Francisco.
Yeah.
Casa Alejo, the Mexican
Oh,
restaurant.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
kind of almost Tex-Mex in a way.
Yes.
But now they have a location in downtown Rogers, and I really do like that restaurant. If I want like Mexican Tex-Mex food, for me that's where I'll go with my fiance. I'll go with call them my suegros, my in-laws,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they'll be my in-laws eventually.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it there. I think they have good service. The food is always good. That would be my spot.
I'm curious, what dish do you get there?
Man, and anytime I go, I get anything different. But last time I got the birria ramen.
Oh,
Oh, dude, it's I don't know. Have you been to Casa Alejo before?
No, I'm not. And you said ramen.
Yeah, so it's
Ah.
like a soup, right? And they have obviously noodles and broth. But what they do is they add this meat. It's called birria. It's kind of like shredded, almost like.
I've had
beef.
that once. Yeah, it's not as common, huh? I don't, or maybe not for me.
It's not like something that you were gonna eat every day, per
Yeah.
se, right? But what they do is they put that meat in the soup, and oh man, it's good.
For the contrary, I mean, I could eat birria every day. I love.
I need to try that
Dude.
next time. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm a quesadilla connoisseur.
Yeah, that's
man.
another thing you
Oh
should
my
try, Kenny.
gosh.
Quesadilla, that one's good.
Okay.
So what it is, it's a flour or corn tortilla, excuse me, and they put cheese and they melt it and they put that meat in there and they fold it and they put the broth and they fry it with the broth and then you eat it
See
and
if I can-
it's
Okay.
good. And they give you even that broth on the side so you can dip that quesadilla in it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Here, let me
I
see.
would
That'll be
recommend trying it.
next time I eat at a Mexican restaurant. Okay. Yeah, I saw the picture and I'm in.
Dude.
So for our
Yeah.
listeners, we
Yeah.
showed them a picture and I think he sold.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right. So because of that, I'll say a shout out to, is it Las Compas in Lowell? They just opened up over there.
Isn't it off of Pleasant Grove?
Yeah,
Yeah, right
it's,
there.
it's
Mhm.
very close to Old Chicago's
Yeah.
pizza. I think I want to say like Las Compas.
Yeah, they're near the Pleasant Grove Walmart over there.
So it's
in
called
Rogers.
Las Compas Margarita Town, but it's in Rogers, but it's over there by the Oh my gosh, Old Chicago's are so. I think they have one of the best quesadillas in town. That's
Okay.
me, um,
Okay.
for sure. So, but well, folks, like I said, as we said in the previous episode, we want to connect with the community. We want to have people from the community tell these stories, get to know the area more. So for our listeners, they know what else this whole area offers. But again, it's always about serving the people here in this area. And and Kenny's about to speak on this, but he's worked hard, and he gives his time and efforts to this local organization here. And I know a little bit about it. I popped in there one or two times, but this is now kind of going into that, seeing what Pedal It Forward is, how they started, who are they now, and what they do, and all these things. But I'm gonna give this time to Kenny. So, brother, thank you again for coming. What is Pedal It Forward? Yes, for the town to know. If you've never been here, if someone's brand new, they drive by, say, "Oh, Pedal It Forward, that's cool, man. Might be a store." What is it? What's the spiel?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Try to keep my thoughts in line, but that's what y'all are for. Um, so, Pedal It Forward is a nonprofit, charitable organization, and our mission is to make sure that everyone has access to a bike. To put it as simply as I could, we want to make sure that everybody has access to a working bike. And so the way we do that is we collect bikes. We ask for people to donate their old bike to us. Um, that can be a kid's bike that your kid outgrew. That can be a bike that you used to ride but can no longer ride anymore. It can be a bike that you just aren't using anymore. And what happens is those bikes get donated to our shops, 3 shops in Northwest Arkansas, and we use our volunteers to refurbish them. So we want to get that bike safe, looking good, riding well, and then we distribute those bikes all across Northwest Arkansas, either at low cost or for free. And so most of our bikes are given away directly to other nonprofits, in fact. So I work
Okay.
I work with usually up to 60 different nonprofits each year
Oh,
to
wow.
distribute bikes,
Wow.
both to children and adults.
So a question I have for you, Kenny, is let's say we have a listener interested in maybe getting involved, or maybe they want their own bike. What can they do to start that process with you guys?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. If you want to just come to our shop, you can actually be a customer in what we call a rummage room. We typically have a selection of bikes that are available very, very affordably.
Okay.
These are used bikes. So anyone can come check in our rummage room to see what we have available there. You can make a request as an individual to us, and we'll put you on a list. Or if you're associated with one of our partners, you can make a request through our partners. So,
Okay.
and that can be, say, through your school. We work with most of the schools in Northwest Arkansas. That can be through a nonprofit that you're getting services from. So, a lot of folks put in their request to their counselor or their case manager, or you name it, and then they send that request to Pedal It Forward. So
I did just see on your guys' social media that you delivered some bikes over to New Tech from Rogers Public School.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I saw that post and I said, man, I'm about to have one of these leaders, from Pedal It Forward given. I was like, that's what they're here to do, right? Or that's what they're doing, and that's their mission. And I think it's amazing. So thank you for that. I know Rogers Public Schools appreciate it. Somewhere in there they appreciate it like you wouldn't believe, right?
that's a great example. Rogers Public Schools is one of our strongest partners, and I work directly with a woman named Kathy Wright, and
Okay.
she essentially collects needs from across the district, and then sends those to me whenever they see a good use for a bike or a student who needs a bike. They'll send that to me, and then we will send those bikes over to whichever school needs them.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Amazing,
awesome.
yeah.
That's cool that you took him to New Tech. I actually graduated from that.
Oh,
High
really?
school. Yeah, I
Nice.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm gonna reach out to one of my teachers and see. Did you see these people giving away bikes?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
No.
awesome.
Um, so pedal it forward. You said volunteer work and partners. So off the top of your head, who are some of the partners? I know you mentioned Rogers Public Schools, but is there just again a few other? Who are some of the other partners you guys partner with?
Yeah. So uh, the partners that I focus on the most and that I'm most proud of are getting bikes to those folks who really need them. So I'll talk about maybe an example of adults and an example of some kids. And
Okay.
so on the adult side, we really do our best to make sure that folks who are homeless or struggling with homelessness get priority access. So we're always making sure that the folks that are in the Salvation Army shelter or affiliated with Seven Hills down in Fayetteville, those folks have access to a bike when they need one. And then another really strong cohort we have is addiction recovery centers. So what happens a lot is a person they'll be on their way back up, right? So they're doing all the right things. They landed a job, and they really need to get to that job, but they don't have their driver's license back yet. So
So you're giving them access to be able to go to and from wherever necessary.
Yep. So if you landed a steady job at McDonald's, but you live 5 miles from McDonald's, it's either figuring out the bus, it's walking, or it's riding a bike. And so oftentimes a bike can really help somebody stay on track, get what they need to be. So that's kind of the partners that I'm most proud of on the adult side. And then kids, oh gosh, we give hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids bikes away every year. But some of my favorite partners are we work with all the local housing authorities. So we have a goal this year actually to make sure that every kid who lives in public housing in Northwest Arkansas gets a bike. And so focus there is all of the Fayetteville Housing Authority properties, Springdale, and then Siloam all have neighborhoods. So we're going to make sure that every one of those kids has wheels by the end of the year.
That's I'm on it like a lost words almost. I think that's that's beautiful, dude. Like that's such a huge impact for these kids. Because can you imagine? I'm sure it's not the most pleasant experience living in those environments, and so I can imagine maybe having their own bike could brighten their day like 100 times over. So that's cool.
Yeah.
My lost word. It's awesome.
Oh man, and to piggyback off Enrique, folks, like I said, it is an honor and a privilege just to have Kenny here who represents this organization, just to come and give his time to speak with us about this, because I think we all somebody knows somebody or who that's in these situations, and what this organization does can change the life of a person, right? Of a kid or an adult or whoever it might be, and help them, even if it's just that little bit, can go a long way, right? So I mean that's amazing, and man, again, thank you so much for really being with here and spending some time with us. But what's something that the listeners can do that would help you guys?
Yeah, there's the number one volunteer role at Pedal It Forward is to come help us fix bikes.
Okay.
And that's something where we always have a need. So we have 3 shops: Springdale, Rogers, and Bentonville. And if you happen to be the kind of person who either already knows how to work on a bike or has a desire to learn how to work on a bike, you are qualified.
Okay, that was a question.
You do not have to be a professional bike mechanic to volunteer for us.
That's good.
None of us are, and so we would love to have you in the shop. But if that's not your jam, we also have tons of other volunteer ways to get involved. We offer a valet bike parking service around the community. That's a fundraiser. So if you can help park people's bikes, you can do that. You can help us host a bike drive in your neighborhood. That's where we collect used bikes.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Cool.
If your business can help us do a bike drive, or you can host one in your neighborhood, you name it. There's always a way to get involved. if it's helping us collect bikes or helping us refurbish bikes, that's what we need from you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, regarding the bikes that are going to be donated, do they have to be in like somewhat working condition? Because let's say I just bring you a frame with no wheels or chain or nothing. Like, are you going to accept that, or what's kind of like the quote unquote requirements for a bike that you're willing to accept?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Really good. Thank you, Enrique.
we'll take anything from you.
Okay.
But I will say the honest answer to that is that if the bike has been outside in the weather for the last year, and you look at it and most of the components and parts are rusty, it's going to be hard to save.
Okay.
But what we do is we take any usable parts that we can off of bikes.
So no matter what it is, it's gonna be beneficial no matter what.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we have a really strong relationship with Rogers Iron and Metal. We recycle a lot of metal because some things cannot be saved, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at this: if you're gonna get rid of a bike in Northwest Arkansas, get rid of it through us. Don't trash your bike. Don't bring it to Goodwill. Love Goodwill. Bikes are not their thing. You know.
I'm about to talk to my dad. He's probably got a few bikes he don't even touch anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I can see that. Because you guys basically refurbish them, right?
Yes.
And that, it's not too for Goodwill. They're just probably getting it right, and then they just put it on the floor,
Right.
And the condition it was really pretty much brought in, and that's what he's referring to, is that they're gonna do their best to refurbish it and get it up to the level so you can enjoy it safely and looking good,
Yeah.
So
We're a niche thing,
Yeah.
We specialize, and that's bikes, and so not a lot of other people know what to do with a broken bike.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I had a bike growing up as a kid. It was all mangled and stuff. And man, I was like, "Oh, I'll fix it for you. Don't worry." And X many years later, that bike never got fixed. So
I think everyone has a similar story. I know I do. So
Bring it on down.
yeah, but I mean, like you said, it's you need to know what you're doing, a specific niche, and so the fact that they're willing to work on them and refurbish them to where they're in a good quality and they're able to ride and enjoy, that's helpful for the community if you're wanting to receive a bike from Pedal It Forward.
Yeah. And Kenny, so how did you get involved with Pedal It Forward, and your role now? So where did you start with them to where you are now? How did that all start?
Yeah, so I came on in 2020, 2021, and I was the first really kind of full-time employee with Pedal It Forward. The organization is 10 years old, but it was volunteer run, just kind of low-key. People helped where they could. We have a really strong board. A couple of the founders of Pedal It Forward are still on the board of directors. But they made their first hire. They hired one of their volunteers named Donald, and he did a great job laying the foundation. But at the end of the day, he wanted to retire. And so the organization was ready to grow to have its first true director. And so I'm the first executive director of Pedal It Forward, and we've kind of snowballed over the last 4 years to this amazing, productive organization that's raising money and giving away bikes. We have 3 staff members now. So myself, Joe, Justin, 3 shops working year round in Northwest Arkansas. And that all culminated to over 3,000 bikes that we gave away last year. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of bikes.
it's just, it's been incredible to be, I wasn't there at the founding, but I was there at this kind of turning point where the organization really transitioned from mostly volunteer run to having some staff and really starting to raise funds and apply those resources back into the community. So it's been a wild ride.
That's awesome. Yeah, going from something low key, like you said, to what it is now, helping schools, all the different cities. It's huge. And going into that, you mentioned to us that you have a Springdale, new location in Springdale. So congratulations on that, first and foremost. Can you tell us a little bit more information about your location in Springdale? How did it come about? How's it going? And what can we do? Obviously, Juan Carlos and obviously our listeners, what can we do to help support that Springdale location?
Yeah, we are very excited to be in Springdale, namely because we're in a really cool location. We're actually on the Jones Center campus. And
Ooh,
so,
okay.
I don't know if you've been to that area, but we are actually surrounded by the offices of many of the nonprofit partners that we work with.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so it's a really great place to be. Um, we'd always wanted a third shop in Washington County somewhere, Fayetteville, Springdale, and we've been poking around for the last year or two to try and find that opportunity. And so it finally came really in the perfect place right there at the Jones Center. And so what that allows us to do, it allows us to collect, repair, and distribute more bikes, having a third shop. And then it also allows us to engage the volunteers down in Washington County more.
Right.
So if you love what Pedal It Forward does and you wanna volunteer in our shop, it might be a lot to ask you to come up to Bentonville every week to volunteer, and vice versa for our recipients. A lot of folks come to our shop to pick up their bike, and for some folks it's hard to get from, say, South Fayetteville up to the Rogers shop to pick up a bike.
Right.
So having that location in Springdale makes it that much easier.
Yeah, kind of like a middle ground, if you will.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Springdale
awesome.
is right where he's referring to is right in the middle of almost all four of us. All four of the cities. So yeah, that is a great location.
Good.
So who, and this is kind of I'm kind of curious with this question, and like I said, how we go about it. But before Pedal It Forward, who was Kenny Williams, right? And his, how do you say this? His what brought him into Pedal It Forward? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you talked about going to school, lived in different parts of the country and things like that. But then there was a shift where you're like, oh yeah, Pedal It Forward. They may have, did you just apply online and then found out, this is my heart, right? Like a new discovery, or yeah, tell me about that. So
Yeah. Bikes have always been a part of my life. And I'll make this full circle. I grew up as the kid romping around their neighborhood on their BMX bike. That passion has stayed with me into my career. Even I've spent a lot of time working at universities with the outdoor adventure programs, and I was always able to be involved with the bike shop on campus, if you will, helping students get riding, teaching students to mountain bike, etc., so on. And so I was working for the Peel Compton Foundation before Pedal It Forward, helping work at Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve and get some programming launched there when I learned about the Pedal It Forward opportunity. And it was actually through a friend, an acquaintance that referred me to the job and said, "Hey, Kenny, that looks like you." And I'd heard of Pedal It Forward. I never in my life imagined they would have a job available for me. And it just seemed like a perfect move to make, and I trusted the recommendation of this guy, and so yeah, the stars aligned there that I got to move for the first time into the nonprofit space of bicycles. So the bicycle thread has always been there, and it immediately I felt the click of what I was doing, because I was that kid on my BMX bike, riding around my neighborhood, feeling that sense of freedom, getting that social engagement, getting that exercise that I didn't even realize I was getting, and so the first bike I gave away at Pedal It Forward, I knew what I was here to do, is provide that same experience. So
That's powerful.
here I am.
I was gonna say the same thing.
I'm feeling like
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That is
That's
actually
awesome.
very powerful. I as and wow, I'm speechless on that too.
You can hear your passion about what you're doing. Just you talking to us, like I'm just sitting here and I'm feeling motivated just from your passion of what you're doing.
Yes.
Thank
and
you.
and
Yeah.
I think it translates well with the day work that you do, with giving away bikes and just sitting here talking with us and sharing your story with our listeners, and like you, it's the passion is there, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
Mm.
People talk about bikes a lot in Northwest Arkansas,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and usually it's of the recreational endeavor, but it's important not to forget that a bike is a powerful tool.
Oof.
Outside of all the fluff and the fancy and the expensive, yeah, transportation, recreation,
Mm-hmm.
mental health, uh, it's an important tool that
Yeah.
everybody should have access to. So
Yeah, I mean, it could be an important part of your life. Like you say,
Yeah.
you were growing up as a kid on your BMX bike. I mean, I have memories when I was a kid. I remember I had this bike, the bike that my dad never fixed, right? Before it got broken. I would ride that down this hill that we lived on. And I remember I learned how to do this trick. It had pegs on it. I'd stand on the back of the pegs and I'd let go of the handlebars and I'd go down this hill, like going way too fast at this age. I could have really hurt myself. But I remember having that in the back of my head, and I'm thinking, man, those memories they were fun, like they
Yeah.
were good to me having that bike, and so I think it's important to know what a bicycle can do for children, for adults, for anyone who needs a bike.
Very true. Wow. That's funny, man. When you said that about being on the pegs and going down the hill.
I don't know how fast I was going, but I should not have been doing that at my age.
You're still here. That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm
it. Man, that just gives me just this goosebump, like, oh, what it could have been, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, man. But folks, for our audience here, as we kind of close up, this is exactly what this podcast, what this idea and passion for us is, as Kenny here is serving the community, helping as best as he can in his abilities, but working with this organization for another cause, right? And some people who are tuning in maybe have lived in this area for a long time, maybe you've heard of them, maybe seen a sign or here or there, and maybe they just didn't know about this I was gonna say business, but no, this organization here, and now you have a little bit more about it. And this is us, right? Like Enrique and myself serving Kenny, serving who he is and what he has done, and then also giving that same service to Pedal It Forward, to either, and again, whatever comes out of it is um, again a plus or whatever it might be, but that is our passion here, to bring people on, share their stories, and then find out more of what they do, and then just take off from there. So Kenny, again, wow, amazing story, powerful story. We couldn't thank you enough for your time here, for everything you've shared with us, and we're happy to give this to our audience, and so forth.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Also, Kenny, thanks for your time. I know time is very valuable, and so like Juan Carlos said, sharing your story, I think it's so powerful hearing that, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It means a lot to be given an opportunity to talk about it. So,
amazing.
Thank
And
you.
Kenny is our first guest of this podcast. He's our first guest, and he will be the first episode. Well, I guess second episode, but first first guest episode. And I think that right there is set. You have set the tone, my friend.
I'll put that on my resume.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, we'd be happy to represent. But Kenny, before we wrap up here, one last thing, something that we're coming up with, something that we're doing in this podcast is, there's a tradition, and it starts today.
Okay.
A new tradition, right? That's funny. Is we want you to we want you to ask a question, any question, and of course you don't know who our next guest will be, but the idea is that you ask this question for the next guest to answer, and that way there's a linkage, there's a tie-in from you and that next guest, whoever it might be, and this question can be whatever you come up with. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to think about this question, and and we'll go from there.
I gotta think of one that I really need to know the answer to, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good too. Yeah.
I would say not knowing not knowing who it's going to be from anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I like knowing? What is the most lost you have ever been?
Ooh, Morris.
That's always a good story.
Ooh, oh man, I'm smiling. My teeth are, it's like, ooh, what? I like this question. Enrique, he's over here. You know.
Sorry. I swallowed some water.
And folks, if you were here in the background, me and Kenny were trying to have this conversation, and Enrique is dying over here coughing. Just let it out, man.
I was trying so hard to be quiet.
Down the wrong pipe.
I am so sorry.
We could just. You can cut this part out, right?
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Sorry.
No, that's funny.
Drinking water.
Why don't we? I guess we can ask that again, or leave it. There, but.
We can do it again.
Okay,
Yeah.
y'all tell me.
And then we can see which take. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, let's
just let it out, bro.
just back up.
Just let it out. Sorry, just get that
Man, I
good
don't know what's
cough.
going on.
Is that a good question? I don't know.
That was a good
It's
question.
a hard question.
That is a hard question, but
Should it be simpler?
That one's good.
I would say I want to say that's a good question because I think I know who's coming in next, and I think the way they would answer it would be really powerful as well.
Okay.
Not to set that expectation on them, but now I'm curious, what are you referring to as loss? Like your kind of your rock bottom loss? Is that is that what you're referring to? Because that's
I was thinking physically.
Oh, like if you're walking through the
Like,
woods or something.
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious, man!
But you were thinking like mentally
Dude,
lost.
hey, what's your biggest loss in
But you
life?
know what? I think that's good because what if like the perspective is different from this guest to this person?
Well, folks, as we wrap up here, we want to again thank Kenny for his time. Enrique, thank you for your time, and for all the listeners, thank you for your time as well for tuning in. And besides that, guys, have a fantastic day. Tune in for our next episode.
Yeah, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in, and Kenny again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks, Kenny, again. Appreciate it.